What is up, and welcome to another episode of the All Basketball Podcast. And once again, I'm your host, Maurice Dixon, coming to you on November the 2nd. And yes, folks, the weather is changing. Sports are starting to go inside, and that also means that high school basketball is back upon us. And today, for another season preview, I got Coach Barksdale, Matt Barksdale from the Centennial Knights in the Atlanta metro area here to talk to me about the upcoming season. How you doing this morning, Coach?
I'm doing great, Maurice. I appreciate you having me on, man.
Thank you for taking the time to talk with me as well. Going to get right off to it. Right into it. What are the 22-23 season is upon us. You're entering your fifth season as head coach at Centennial. What are your expectations? How are you viewing things as they get ready to officially start?
Yeah, so we're about a week and a half in at this point. And I'll tell you, it's been a really fun week and a half. I've told multiple people in and around the program, this is the most fun I've ever had coaching in my career. The reason for that is we got a great staff, and we just got some awesome kids that are working hard day in and day out. They're coachable. They want to learn. And just, the improvement that we've seen over the last week and a half has been pretty awesome. And I think we've kind of been able to set the tone for what we want our identity to be. And that's just something we're working towards every single day in practice.
Okay, great to hear. When did you have you, I should say, solidify your roster yet for your varsity
Yeah, our,
squad?
our roster is solidified. We had tryouts, those first 2 days that we could start. So practice is solidified, and we're, I think, 6 or 7 practices in with our roster. We're still missing a couple football guys that'll impact our team, but we should be getting them back in a couple weeks. So yeah, we're rocking and rolling, man.
Okay, good to hear. As far as your roster, I know the specifics you want when you're picking a team, you want height, you want experience, you want certain intangibles. Um, well, and obviously as much height as you can get. But when it comes down to it, sometimes you have to separate picking certain guys over others, even though they might have the same physical attributes. But what do you take into account the most when it comes to putting together your roster?
Yeah, so I think that's something. I think it depends on the year, but also like when you fill out a roster, you got to have a good balance of your senior leadership, guys returning who have varsity experience, but then you also got to have some young guys on the team because they're the future of the program too. So I think there's a balance there. Kind of as far as what we were looking at this year, we'll have 6 seniors on the team. And then we got a really good young group that I think will impact our program for years to come. We're not very big this year. We're definitely, this is probably the smallest team I've had since we've been here. We got a little bit of size, but got a lot of smaller guards. But with that, I think we can kind of turn that into some strengths as well, playing fast, getting up and down the floor. Really trying to pressure our opponents and create some turnovers. So I think with what we lose in height and length, I think we kind of gain with, just having some dogs on the defensive end, and a lot of different guys that can play multiple positions, which I think in turn could create some matchup problems for our opponents.
Okay, always good to be able to create matchup problems. Uh, as far as your team, who are some of the impact players you have returning? New players you kind of added that you might want to mention?
Yep. So we graduated 6 last year. And all 6 of our graduates from last year are playing at the next level, whether it's basketball, football, got one in track. So we lost a lot. Essentially, we bring back 3 kids who got varsity experience last year. So I guess first, senior Jonah Hibbert, he'll be our starting, I guess, kind of like point guard / shooting guard, can play both of those positions. High IQ, good shooter. He started most of our games down the stretch last year. So bringing him back with some experience. We'll have another senior who transferred in. His name is Jameer Smith-Blount. He'll be our starting point guard. This kid flat out gets after it on the defensive end. I think has potential to be one of the best guard defenders I've ever coached. He gets after it. Good floor general, good passer. Has done a good job early, in practices, kind of setting the tone and, running the show on offense. And then two underclassmen who got some really good varsity experience last year. Junior Kennedy Warren. He's grown a couple inches up to about 6'4". I would say kind of a combo guard. He can handle the ball, but he's also a 3-level kid. He can shoot the 3, really good mid-range game. And we've seen a lot of improvement with him attacking and finishing at the rim. And then we have a sophomore, KJ Garris. He's a name to remember. I've told a lot of people this, like this kid's going to blow up at some point. And I think this year is going to kind of be his coming out party. Kid can flat out shoot the rock. I think has potential to be in the 40 to 45, upper 40s, 3-point percentage. He's got a good, big, strong body, about 6'3". He's another kid. He's probably grown 3 inches since last year. He got some good experience last year, but this year will be, a very big piece to our success. So I think those are the main 4 impact guys, but we also got a lot of role players that I think have done a really good job, kind of like locking into, every team. You gotta have those guys. Like, not everybody's going to be a leading scorer, and we got some guys who have really bought into their role. Our starting big, Nick Strompus. Funny story about him. This is actually his first year playing organized basketball since like 5th or 6th grade.
Wow.
So he has not played in high school. And man, this kid's going to be good. It's wild that he hadn't played. He's going to be a Division I tennis player. So normally you don't see a basketball tennis overlap, but the kid's a really good athlete. He can shoot it, big, strong, about 6'5", 6'6". And he's going to be really good for us this year. And then I think we got some other guys who will be coming off the bench that'll help us out a lot. But I think right now those 5 have kind of separated themselves and should have really good years for us.
Okay. As far as last season, I saw you finish second in the region, advanced to the state playoffs. Didn't go past the initial round, but still quite a pretty good achievement as far as just some level of success. Anything from last year that you're hoping to tighten up on, hoping your guys get better at, looking back on as you enter this season?
Absolutely. So I think every good coach, whenever their season ends, kind of takes a breather, takes a break, and then you start diving into what worked well, what didn't work well. And I think, looking back to last year, I think we kind of peaked at the wrong time. I don't think we were playing our best basketball in February. Looking back in retrospect, I think there's a couple reasons for it, but I think the biggest takeaway from last year to this year is like we really need to be peaking at the right time. Like you look at us last year, we were 20-3 going into the region playoffs, and we lost 3 straight games. We lost in the semis, we lost the consolation, and lost in the first round. I think there are some a lot of reasons for that. There's some coaching decisions that I wish I could go back and change, but that's life, and you learn and you grow and become a better coach. And I think our team is a lot different this year than last year. Last year we had a lot of, I guess, more size, more length, whereas this year we're definitely more guard oriented. So we've definitely tweaked some things on the offensive end. I think defensively we'll look a little bit different as well than we did last year. Played a lot of zone last year. And this year I don't envision us playing much zone at all, if at all. So you definitely some changes from last year, based on how things ended. And Also, just based on our personnel differences this year, our team definitely looks a lot different.
Okay. What about the how do you see the region looking? Does it look much different? Are you still in the sun? I know it was a possible realignment. But when I look
Yeah,
at
so
your
we had some pretty big changes. So we dropped from 6A to 5A.
okay,
So we are in a region with Kell, GAC, North Springs, Northview, Cambridge, and Chattahoochee. Um, Kell is obviously, I think, the toughest. I mean, they're probably the best, arguably the best team in 5A. I mean, they're loaded with talent, very well coached. Got the big boy 7-footer in the middle, he'll be a tough matchup for anyone that they play. So I think Kell is I think the number one right now. Obviously, it's early, but they're top dog right now, and I think everyone else's goal is to try to knock them off. But they're obviously going to be a tough out. I know Chattahoochee has a good core returning. And then some of the other schools, I don't know. I haven't seen them play, at least in a couple of years. So I think it's open. I think it's Kell and everybody else. So I think everyone's going into the season with a lot to prove and trying to set the tone.
okay, so you mentioned Kill. I assume they're seems like they're continuing their winning ways or talent field rosters. I know Scoot Henderson, I think he's in the G League
Yeah,
right now, and
it'll
he's
be it'll be a, it'll be a top 3 draft pick, I think, in the NBA
yeah, he was
next
yeah,
season.
yeah, they're yeah, because he had some impressive games against Victor Wimby.
Yep.
Wim, I'm
That's a
messing
hey,
that guy.
that's a tough name, man. That's a
I
tough name. But
I've
that
been
game was fun to watch. That was
okay,
really
okay.
fun to watch.
Yeah, I've been hearing the name, but I haven't been saying it, so I'm like, oh yeah, kind of. Well,
Yeah,
I'll get it, but yeah, that guy,
yeah,
wow, he might change the game,
yeah, for sure, for sure.
but as far as your non-region schedule this season, I see a little traveling there. You got some Thanksgiving, Christmas type tournaments.
Yep,
Just
yep. So
expound on those.
we're hosting a Thanksgiving tournament this year, which we're really
Okay.
excited about. For first year, we're doing it, and got some really good teams coming that I'm really excited about. And then Christmas, we're doing a couple different things. We're going over to Sequoia and playing in their War Lodge, which is always competitive. I know they get some good teams in there. And then we'll be going down to Rockdale County and doing one of their kind of pre-Christmas classics as well. So excited about those. And just some other we always play Roswell, which is kind of crosstown rival. And then we got a couple 7A opponents. We got Parkview, who should be really good. Open up with Cherokee. I think they're going to be really, really good this year. I mean, we played them last year, edged them out, but they returned just about everybody on their roster from last year. So I think they're gonna shock some people. I mean, they were really good last year and returned everyone. So I think they're gonna be good. They're really well coached. Joe does a great job over there. Um, so yeah, that's kind of the main couple. As far as our non-region schedule goes. And I think next year we're going to try to travel out of state. We did it a couple of years back, and try to hit up a out of state Christmas tournament. But yeah, excited about the non-region schedule. It's going to be competitive and tough, and I think will set us up to be ready to go once region play starts.
Okay, great to hear. Great to hear. And yeah, you just by mentioning you said you guys hosting that tournament Thanksgiving. I mean, I have pretty much took the whole week off from work, so maybe to make it over there definitely for a game,
Yeah,
but
man, we
not
would
too
love to have
late.
you, man.
Thank
I'll
you.
tell you this: our hospitality room is going to be
Oh,
second to none. So come
okay,
hungry.
okay, appreciate that. Uh, one big thing that's coming into effect, shot clock this year. It's been kind of phased in, but now it's full go. Region games, non-region games, and more importantly, the state tournament. Did you guys play with it last year? Any
We did. So our region played with
region?
it.
Okay,
So we didn't have, obviously, state tournament, we didn't have it. But our all of our region games, we played shot clock. Region tournament was with shot clock. So we feel, I guess, prepared for the change.
Okay, yeah. So you guys it's not gonna be anything different. You just
No,
gonna be
it's
here.
like, we're trying to play fast anyway. And I mean, looking back on last year, we didn't have a single shot clock violation the whole entire year. And granted, it was mostly region games, but even some of our non-region games, we played with it. And so we didn't have a shot clock violation all season. A couple times where it got late and we probably took a shot that wasn't great. But I think the guys are prepared for it. We'll have them prepared for it. Some of those, like, late in the shot clock kind of quick hitters that, you can run to try to get a good quality shot off, under 10 seconds. So we'll be ready for it.
Okay, great to hear. As far as you mentioned earlier, as far as your some of your guys playing next level basketball, who are some of those guys?
Yeah, so if you look at our group from last year, Wade Kale, he's at Colorado School of Mines, which is probably top 5 D2 school in the country. Let's see. So Brian Baylor, he was our point guard that tore his ACL early in the season. He's taking a prep year. Cam Jasper is playing football at University of Chicago. Darian Galloway got a preferred walk-on spot to run track at Kennesaw State. Mark Asari is playing basketball D3, University of Southern Maine. And then Abdul Diaby, who had a really good year for us last year. So he's playing at William Woods University, which is a NAIA school right outside of St. Louis.
Okay. Okay, so good to know guys are guys who can and want to or continuing to put the
Absolutely.
ball in the hoop and getting that help with that education money.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. I hear you.
Definitely. Well, specifically, that's all I have, Coach. Is there anything else you'd like to mention before we end the show?
No, man, I appreciate you having me on. We're really excited about the season. It's early, but we're having a lot of fun coaching this group of kids. We got a phenomenal group of kids. It just, I don't think the culture of the program right now could be better than it is. And proud of the guys for how hard they're working, and can't wait to see how we produce on the court. If we continue to work and play the way we've been practicing, I think we're going to surprise some people. I think everyone knows we graduated a good chunk of our experience, and we lost 90% of our scoring, and over 90% of our rebounding. So I think people think it's going to be a down year for us, but the way we're competing in practice, I think we're going to surprise some people this year.
Okay, definitely nothing wrong with that. Well, Coach, I wish you and the guys a good season and health for all your guys and much success. And we'll see how it plays out. But thank you so much for joining me today.
Absolutely, Maurice. Appreciate you, man. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Yes, sir. You too.
And well, folks, that's another high school preview, this time featuring Centennial High School, the Centennial Knights, coached by Matt Barksdale. Thank him again so much for coming on the All Basketball Podcast and talking with me about the upcoming high school basketball season here in the Atlanta metro area. Once again, remember to subscribe to the All Basketball Podcast, wherever you listen to podcasts, if that's Google, Spotify, Apple, or wherever else. And also keep an eye out on coveringthegame.com, my basketball website. Once again, I'm your host, Maurice Dixon. This has been another episode of the All Basketball Podcast. And until next time, peace and be blessed in Jesus' name.